Not so long ago now, I did a review on some bootleg NECA Ninja Turtle figures from the Mirage Comics, and that video did quite well for my small little channel. So I thought I'd do another bootleg Ninja Turtles figure review, this time from Revoltech, from the 2012 animated series Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, normally I will not buy bootleg action figures because normally when you do, you're in for a shock. You'll either get a bad paint job, you'll get a bad sculpt, or you'll get really loose, cheap plastic, which will break at an instant. But every now and again, there are a few bootlegs that do the actual original figure justice. Now, I will always try and get the original figure. I will not just go straight for the bootleg, but sometimes that figure will go off the market and it'll go into the secondary market and the prices will become silly prices, and it doesn't make sense to pay that money if there is a really good bootleg out there. Now, I will admit, I haven't seen many. There are only the odd 1, 2 or 3 good quality bootlegs as far as I'm aware out there, and to me they always seem to be NECA figures. On this rare occasion, I think these are pretty damn good, and these are Revoltech. Now, like I said, at the time when I was looking into these, they were still fairly new, but they had already gone onto the secondary market and the prices were going higher than I was willing to pay. And when I spotted these bootleg figures for, I think they were around £15 each, I couldn't pass it by because they look so good. Normally when you go on AliExpress, you can get pictures of the customer's actual product, so when they've got it on, they'll take a picture and you can tell whether it's trash or not. These ones looked okay. I knew they weren't great, but they looked okay, and they looked really close to the original product, so I took a chance, and I'm glad I did, just like with the NECA Mirage Ninja Turtle figures, the bootleg ones. Now, even though I'm praising these figures, they are not perfect at all. I am merely making do with them because I couldn't get the originals because they're out of my price point. For example, if you were to get one of these today, the original ones that is, you would be paying a hell of a lot of money. I'll put it up on the screen here just to show you exactly how much you will be paying. Now, Revoltech are well known for the posability in the figures. They are really well articulated. Even the fingers are articulated. If you were to stand the figure up straight, it would look ridiculous, but when it's in a pose, they look really good, as these do now. It transferred well over to the bootlegs, but the joints in the bootleg are really weak and loose, and that is a massive inconvenience when you're buying the bootleg. Some might say even the Revoltech original figures have loose joints, but I'm suspecting that these are even worse. For example, when I was posing each one of these for this video, I had an absolute nightmare. Just setting up this shot here took me about half an hour. Donatello was the worst. That's why he stood in a standing pose, because I just could not get him in a pose where he would not stop falling over. Now, in fairness, you are supposed to attach them to these diorama set pieces, just like Michelangelo here is. This is the only set piece that has survived. Each one of these set pieces have snapped at some point. I'm not sure whether that's because of the quality of the bootleg or whether it's because of my carelessness, but nevertheless they have snapped at some point, so I have to kind of just stand them in place, the Ninja Turtles in front of them. But Michelangelo, I can actually stand him up on his diorama, and as you can tell, he's in a better pose than the rest of them. But like I said, the joints on these figures are very weak and loose, and they seem to flop about a bit. When you've got them in a pose, they're fine and they will stay there, but getting them into that pose is very tricky, and it can get a little bit irritating, if I'm being honest. When I brought them over from my shelf to here, now they've been fine on my shelf. When I brought them over to here, I had to repose them, and I was having to put up with the legs falling off or an arm falling off here, or the figures just not standing up right. With a little bit of determination, I did get them in some cool poses.